Spider-Man is my favorite comic book superhero of all time, plain and simple. With endless amount of hand-drawn creations to numerous iterations of films and TV series to the large variety of video games ranging from that to a complete game-changing experience. He may very well be one of the most iconic superheroes out there, with Across the Spider-Verse around the corner to Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 releasing for PS5 later this year. The hype train is on for today's episode. And you know what? What better way to kill some time with all the Spider-Man 2 hype than going back to Spider-Man 2, the 2004 video game movie tie-in? I mean, come on, it's Spider-Man 2. I know it sounds crazy saying this, but believe it or not, this was the best Spider-Man we've had for the longest time, before we got Insomniac Spider-Man on the PS4. Mostly due to the fact that it was the game that innovated realistic web-slinging mechanics, and the rest of the games afterwards didn't quite reach that high bar, which is exactly what made Spider-Man PS4 even more special, the web-slinging. Well, obviously had a little more to it than that, but it was a game that made you feel like Spider-Man. While at some point I would love to tackle what the entire video game side of the spectrum has to offer, we'll stick with the best. I'm more of a show and tell guy when it comes to these types of games, so let me just pop the disc in and jump right into the main game. I used to grow up with the PS2 version, but opted for the Xbox simply for better graphics. In fact, this is night and day compared to the PS2 version. It's almost like a completely different game. Wait, no. This isn't the Spider-Man 2 I remember. Oh, this makes so much sense now. This isn't Spider-Man 2 on consoles, it's the PC version! Ah! You're probably completely lost with everything at this point, so let me back up a tiny bit. Ever since the beginning of video games, we always associate an iconic game made for a specific platform. However, when the game was also developed for another platform, it'll most likely end up being a completely different version. Handhelds, for example, could either be a significant downgrade to a home console's counterpart, or a completely different game altogether, mostly because they would be handled by a completely different developer. That's apparent with a bunch of titles released in the 2000s. I mean, did you really expect a game looking like this could play on the PSP? No. Same could be said for a handful of high-end PC games being downgraded to a console version. Sometimes when you have console-developed games be ported to PC, it would sometimes be the superior version to get, as it could be supported with high resolution on compatible GPUs, potentially with customizable controller supports, and mods to either enhance your experience or be funny about it. Except the shocking thing is that the roles have completely reversed on this scenario. Instead of getting a true open world with true web slinging ported to a pro gamer machine, we got a completely different game that strips everything we love about Spider-Man games to this point. That's right, the PC version is one of 6 variants for Spider-Man 2, which also happens to be one of the worst Spider-Man games out there. Well, at least we got Bruce Campbell to be our tour guide for today.
Just click your right mouse button twice and double jump up to that next checkpoint. Come on, hop to it.
Jesus Christ, I'm not ready for this, am I? The combat is stupid easy, it's not even funny. I know the combat isn't necessarily the strongest point to criticize in most Spider-Man games, generally speaking that is, except all I do is click the left button and I instantly knock out an enemy. There's no depth to it whatsoever. That being said, let's establish the web sling in this version. It's lame. You have to manually aim your mouse cursor to the web icons and then click the left button to automatically swing. It's not that it's a terrible way to make web slinging, but when you have developers of the console version crack the code to innovate realistic web slinging only for the PC version to go the complete opposite route, I'd rather be shooting webs out in the sky if anything, because if you really think about it, this is the most restrictive web slinging I've ever seen. Sure, this is obviously questionable, but come on! You even control the direction of where you want to swing. Once you web slip directly to that icon, you automatically orient yourself to a two-dimensional pendulum. Put in the fact that you're confined in small level designs of the city, it feels like an on-rails game more than anything. Ah, Spire sense is tingling.
Sounds like trouble.
Gotta love standing in front of Rhino's path only to execute a pointless QuickTime event, followed by a 6-second pre-rendered cutscene with very choppy stop-motion animation reminiscent of 1930s cinema. Oh, and thank you for saving me the trip to GameFAQs. Twice.
Can't we all just get along?
Well, with that out of the way, we might as well jump to a third of this movie.
Peter, thank you for taking time out of your school day to come to the bank with me.
It's my pleasure, Aunt May. I'll make some time to study later.
I hope you don't spend too much time cutting classes.
Of course not. I'm a model student.
Right.
Sorry, I don't feel well. Will you excuse me?
Of course, honey. I'll be right here.
Well, at least he's letting his 77-year-old aunt know that he'll be safe in the bathroom, unlike ditching her in the film. Actually, I take that back. He's totally ditching his aunt. Okay, so I try saving my aunt, still freaking out for some reason. So I ditch her again in an effort to run around the bank and fight goons. Run around the bank, fight goons. Run around the bank, fight the camera to crawl through an air duct for a minute, fight goons, run around the bank. This is already getting sterile, and I'm not even 30 minutes into my playthrough yet. You do, however, fill up this yellow meter over time when fighting enemies. Once filled, you'll automatically turn into negative Spider-Man for some reason and one-shot everyone. Okay, you do fight Doc Ock, but first, you gotta play Simon Says before the actual boss fight begins. This is how much I love video games.
Let's get out of here. Come on, lady, you're riding with us.
Help, Spider-Man.
I'll have to catch up with Ock later. Can't let them take Aunt May.
Really love the sense of urgency in comparison to the film, especially since these are the same actors reprising their roles for both PC and console.
Hang on! Shame, that sweet lady in there could be somebody's aunt.
Man, what a wisecrack. Fortunately, Aunt May is safe, but the next villain I'm taking on might be the weirdest one I've encountered yet. Puma? Wow, that's a deep cut, because I've never even heard of him until now. In fact, this is the only video game appearance he gets alongside the GBA version of this game. Let's just say he's the last person you'll hire when Kraven the Hunter isn't around, let alone steal your girlfriend's car?
Puma? When did you get into the stolen car business?
Since you started being dumb enough to follow any hot car back to my trap.
Ah, so it was a diversion to pad 10 minutes of gameplay. Now, back to pursuing Doc Ock at Oscorp's lab. We know the drill, run around the building, fight enemies. Only this time, we have dudes with shields, which adds an extra step of stepping back, shoot their heads, then go for the punch. I hope you love Simon Says, because there's more where that came from. And I'm only 15 minutes into this playthrough. Now, forget about Rhino, because we gotta talk about the real meat of this game. As if this game couldn't get any better, we're now in Mysterio's Illusion world. That's shockingly not the Funhouse segment. It just had to be a floating island in a game where web slinging and platforming is damn near non-existent. especially when I'm looking in all directions as the mouse allows me to, just to find something to shoot my webs on, and when I do find it, I question why trying to traverse in this level is so damn difficult in the first place. Say what you want about the alien invasion in the console version. That was pretty damn cool, using floating platforms to swing towards the Statue of Liberty to literally destroy the mother brain. This is boring. Ooh, don't get me started on that Mysterio boss fight. Why? Well, it's simple. All I have to do is dodge a bunch of rocks, pick up a rock, and throw it at Mysterio. Except it's not that simple, because the rocks will have a limited time on the ground before they explode. So I have to be smart about which rock I pick up first, or you'll get damage. At first, I thought I was picking up the wrong rocks too late, until I started tracking the right rocks to pick up, giving myself time to throw it, and I still get hurt from it. Maybe I'm throwing it too low. I aim a little higher. Either I still miss, or it explodes on me. The collision detection on this one particular level is terrible. There's no strategy to this boss fight. It's purely random on how the game feels about you throwing rocks at Mysterio. What's worse, just when you think you got the rhythm, dude flies away, making you do more bullshit platforming to make the same goddamn mistake. After spending 30 minutes on this simple boss fight, I'm starting to love the Mysterio boss fight on the console version a lot more, where you simply punch the living fishbowl out of Quinn Beck's head.
I give up. Don't hit me again.
Quentin Beck, I presume. Say cheese.
Alright. Time for the iconic train sequence.
Jump off the train.
What the hell is this? No. He didn't stop the train? The one iconic scene out of the entire film has been completely derailed to where everyone dies? Well, I'm just assuming, but still, what the hell, man? Again, proper swinging would have been nice in this level right about now. Doc Ock is the final boss, alright. You have to awkwardly swing around him, perfectly land on the platform in order to flip the spotlight on him, punch the crap out of him, and... I guess that's the game. I'm shocked that this only took me 2 hours to play the entirety of this game. No side missions, extra content, nothing. I do find it fascinating to look through different variants of games like this. If the PC version has proven anything, there's probably a reason why I'm mostly a console gamer.